So recently, Deep Dive, it's a card shop local to Athens, decided to do Pokemon Leagues, which means, yay, I have a game to play there. So last week, at the first ever Deep Dive League, I did win the league with my Lugia V-Star deck. So yeah, I brought Lugia, and it was great success. However, this time, Surging Sparks is legal, which means that I do expect to see some Miraidons, some Pikachu EX, some things that I do need to be concerned about as a Lugia player. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to switch it up, and I'm actually going to counterpick, and I am going to be bringing Klawf. But yeah, that is my plan. I do plan on winning. That would be super sick. See you guys on Monday.
Dude, we actually had Little Caesars like 2 days ago. It's actually not that bad.
I know.
Like Little Caesars,
they've upped their game since they got sponsored.
Yes, like hot and ready out of the box. It's like actually pretty good.
That's how I like it.
You gotta give me crabs.
Alright, so round one just ended. Here we are by the bathrooms. It's very clean in there, actually. So it was a bit of a weird round. I played up against a Charizard deck, which is like a pretty good matchup for me because of Electrode and because of the Poison Donk stuff. But I did prize my Sneasler, and my opponent prizes Sealstone, and like basically both of us were one card off of being able to do what we wanted to do for like the entire set. I did manage to get it because I have a lot more lenience with that. I need less pieces generally. But round two is about to start. I'm either up against Raging Bolt or a mystery deck, so let's see what happens. Alright, round two was pretty, no, yeah, it was smooth. A couple awkward prizes, but you know, you're gonna prize 6 cards, they're gonna be kind of awkward. We were up against Raging Bolt. It's my buddy DJ, who I live with. I helped him build this Raging Bolt list, so I felt like a little bad. But Klawf actually hits the perfect number to one-shot Raging Bolt. So I was able to just Klawf and Klawf again to offset the prize trade. Iron Bundle came in real handy, as well as Pecharunt being able to knock out Raging Bolt at the passing of turns for Revenge KO was amazing. I did actually get to use the Blood Moon that time, which is pretty cool. But yeah, everything is going according to plan. And now I really have to pee, so... Bye. Alrighty, so that was the end of round 3. I played against what I believe was somebody's kind of last-minute deck to try to make it here. It had a Rory Moon EX in it, I think. It had some other stuff. But that was 2-0 with the Klawf. So Klawf did not drop a game today. I'm very happy. I did get to do the Poison Donk thing, where I poison and get a knockout on turn 1, which you can't do with other decks. Klawf was the call, kind of. I did expect it to be Miraidon. A little bit disappointed I didn't get to play against a Miraidon. It's kind of fun. But yeah, it was good stuff. We got our little mini prize support. I got a Japanese card. It's Miraidon. It's pretty cool. Here's the second bathroom. Okay, so here we are going to do the deck overview. I am recording this after the fact, so if I accidentally speak in past tense, that is why. So, yeah, we are going to be playing with a Klawf deck. I might have mentioned that in the intro. It's been a couple days, I forgot. Also, if you guys like this setup, let me know. Trying it out. So, the first thing to start with is we do have 3 copies of our buddy Klawf, which Unhinged Scissors allows us to attack with 1 double turbo, and when we are poisoned, or affected by any other special condition, we actually swing for 190 instead of the 30, which is huge. That scores a lot of big knockouts when you combine it with the poisoning of Sneasler's ability. So yeah, I'll set those over there. That glare's kind of... It's fine, who cares? Anyway, so speaking of poison, let's get into our poison buddies. We do have 5 Pokemon dedicated to this. Of course, to set up the initial poison, we have Brute Bonnet with Toxic Powder. We can poison both active Pokemon. That includes us and our opponent, which is huge for not only enabling Unhinged Scissors, but damaging our opponent as well. We also have the Pecharunt with its Toxic Subjugation ability. It means that Pecharunt isn't the active, the poison damage goes up even more. which under certain circumstances does allow us to actually donk our opponent before they get to play the game. Say if we're going first, if our opponent puts down a Pidgey, and I manage to poison with Brute Bonnet and I Pecharunt in the active, they will take 5 damage counters, potentially knocking them out before they can play the game, which is huge. And then of course we do have the one copy of, I'm going to put them down here, Radiant Hisuian Sneasler, which increases all damage done from poison by 2. It fixes a lot of math, specifically against Raging Bolt. If we have Klawf with the Binding Mochi, a Radiant Sneasler, it does a perfect 240, which is huge. Speaking of poison damage, we do have another Pokemon that does attack with poison, and that is Hisuian Electrode V. The Tantrum Blast is a free attack that does 100 damage for each status condition on it. So if we poison ourselves, and if we use something like super effective glasses, which we do play in this deck, we can actually knock out Charizard with 300 damage plus 30 from poison, which is another big thing about this deck. If you knock out your opponent with poison, they cannot use Unfair Stamp or Pheasantipity because poison will knock them out during Pokemon Checkup. We also have a bunch of one-of support Pokemon. I say support. Ursaluna is more of an attacker, so we'll put him up here. But the rest of these guys are our supporters. Squawkabilly, Pheasantipity, Lumineon, and Iron Bundle, all to help progress our board or mess up their board in some way. Stick these guys right here. Let's talk about the next most important part of the deck, being the tool cards, because we do need to play a lot of tool cards in order to enable our board. The first of which I think is the most important to mention is the Ancient Booster Capsules. Ancient Booster Capsules, when attached to Brute Bonnet, allow us to poison both active Pokemon, so huge shout out to Ancient Booster Capsule. We do also have the Binding Mochi, which means that when our Pokemon are poisoned, they do 40 more damage, which is a really big deal with Klawf, and of course Ursaluna Blood Moon, which can now swing for 280, which is knockouts on something like Lugia V-Star or Pidgeot, Palkia V-Star, really big deal. And then for the remaining tools, we have just a few one-ofs. We have the 4 Seal Stone, which we use with our V Pokemon, super effective glasses, which we use with our V Pokemon there, and the one-of Rescue Board, which allows for certain pivots, namely with Pecharunt, because poison damage is calculated during checkup after you promote a Pokemon. Having Rescue Board on Pecharunt means that if we, for some reason, don't knock out our opponent and they are poisoned, we can put up Pecharunt, they will ideally drop to the poison, and then we can retreat during our turn. It is incredible. So because we have so many tool cards, let's now talk about the items, the most important one being our ace spec of choice, of course, the Secret Box, which the cost of discarding a bunch of cards from our hand allows us to find a tool, supporter, stadium, and item. We do play a lot of tools. We play stadiums that help us find tools, so Secret Box is huge for this. Let's go ahead and start the stack over there. I'm going to put Secret Box on top, so let's keep it over there for now. For our Pokemon search, we play 4 Nest Ball and 4 Ultra Ball, as well as 1 copy of Hisuian Heavy Ball. Pretty much the maximum ball search that you want to run in a deck. Some other one-of items that we do have here is the Energy Lotto and the Lost Vacuum. Lost Vacuum can let us fix certain math by removing Bravery Charms, and it can also just help disrupt our opponent's board. It can also allow us to remove a Seal Stone from Electrode and then actually put on the super effective glasses, so we get 2 unique uses out of our Electrode. We do also have 2 Switch Carts and 2 Night Stretchers to allow us to reposition our board. And of course the Secret Box is the big cherry on top, which I will place right there. I think that looks rather nice. So I think this is the perfect time to get into our support line. Because we are a heavy tool-based deck, and we do the stuff like the Lumineon and the Electrode, we do play 4 Arvens. Arven is very incredible. We can find a tool, and we can find Secret Box, which allows us to find anything. So Arven can basically become anything in this deck. It is very, very nice. We do play 2 copies of Colress, because the one thing that Arven cannot find is it cannot find Special Energy, which is really important. We do play the one of Energy Lotto, but sometimes it doesn't work out. So Colress allows us to search out Double Turbo, as well as a Stadium, which can, say, become Artisan, which becomes Klawf, or Town Store, which becomes Sealstone. He is such an incredible supporter in this deck. I think I've kind of been sleeping on Colress up until I played this. Our next most bountiful supporter is the Boss's Orders. I should say plentiful. I don't think bountiful is the right word. Boss's Orders, we play 3 copies of them. 1, just in case of discard, but 2, because that means that we can target weaker basic Pokemon, something like Pheasantipity, Rotom, which do happen to be weak to Klawf, which is very nice. Then we do play 3 other supporters. Iono, Carmine, and Professor's Research. Carmine can allow us to dig on the first turn to go for that donk. Iono just for hand disruption, and Professor's Research to recharge the hand after maybe something like a secret box. I wouldn't mind taking up the Iono count, but also I don't know what I would cut, so there is that. So for our energy count, we are running a pretty thin line of special energy. We are only running 4 double turbo, which is, I guess, the maximum amount, so I shouldn't say only, and 2 jet. That's nice, that looks nice, yeah. The double turbo is obviously what allows us to attack with Klawf. It can also let us attack early with our Blood Moon. And jet can also enable plays like putting up our Petulant, putting up our Blood Moon, and just overall repositioning if our opponent tries to get us stuck. Something like our Brute Bonnet has a very thick retreat cost. I think it's like 3. So having a jet on the board can be extremely helpful there. And of course, the last thing, stadiums, which as I mentioned, we do play Town Store and we do also play Artisan. We do play 2 copies of Town Store because I think the tools are the most important part of the deck. I was debating cutting a Town Store and going with a Collapse Stadium, but then last minute I went with 2 Town Stores, and I'm glad that I did, because pricing a Town Store can actually really hinder your board when you want to go for a Secret Box or a Cold Rest play. So yeah, this is the list I'm going to be running with. So yeah, I did end up winning the entire thing again. That is 2 for 2 on these locals so far. Really happy about that. I could see myself bringing Klawf again. I think some minor adjustments I'd make would be adjusting the stadium count, possibly adjusting the Cold Rest count, maybe going down a Cold Rest, maybe up a switch cart, something like that. But the list feels really good, especially against my local meta, which is Charizard, Raging Bolt. There is a tricky matchup there. There isn't as Pothra. Don't know how I'm going to beat that, because that is kind of tricky. But I should just be able to go for the Poison Donk, so we'll see if it comes up next week. But for now, that is all that I have. If you got something on how to make this better, let me know. I do plan on doing these, if not every week, at least every couple of weeks, because this is pretty fun. Yeah. Bye.